And good evening, and welcome to City Focus. I'm Marty Olsen, your host, and thank you for tuning in. And I'm delighted to have back my good friend and yours, Tony D'Angelo. Tony, thanks for coming on.
So nice to be here, and thank you for having me.
Tony comes on basically whenever he wants. He can be he can be on every week and keep me company if he'd like. He generally spaces it out a little bit wider than that, but for those of you who listen to Lee Elsey on 94.9, he's a regular on Tuesday mornings at 7 o'clock to give you his wit and wisdom on what's going on primarily in the state of Connecticut. He does expand his thoughts on other topics as well, but he certainly, I would say you've got your thumb on the pulse of the state.
Well, we try. You know, I try to keep an open mind. That may sound strange, but I do, and I try to pay attention to what's happening as best as I can.
Yeah, well, I think it's important. I mean, as interested as I am in government and in politics, I tend to be a bit more focused on local and federal stuff. Mm-hmm. So you're my go-to guy when it comes to the state. So I am glad that you're able to come in. And
it's an honor, Marty. Thank you.
And we were actually scheduled a couple of weeks ago, but I had a little illness that put me in the ER for a few hours, and we had to postpone till tonight. So I appreciate your resilience.
It's always great to come in here. Thank you.
And for those of you who are wondering why I've got this nifty new green and gold New London hat, as you, I'm sure, are all aware that I've been hawking the New London Kiwanis Golf Tournament, which is coming up on September 19th at Shinnecosta. And I was down at the little strip mall on Route 1 where Philomena's is and visited Sporties. And while I was in there talking with the proprietor, he had the audacity to inquire if we had bought anything there, and they're new in there. I said, "Well,
no, he's just there to get stuff away."
I said, "Well, I had my hand out, and I said, well, I really don't think that we have at this point, but I saw this hat, and I said, man, I like this hat. I mean, this is embroidered, it sets out, and so I said, well, I'll buy one of those. And on my way out, I said, no, I don't want you to tell me that we haven't bought anything. I'm not sure that's going to work or not, but he was very pleasant, I must say. And if we don't get him this year, I'll be back next year. So. I'm persistent. I don't give up easily. But I think that there's a lot of interesting stuff from intermingling local to state, federal to state, and Connecticut's in the middle of a number of things, and I think they dovetail nicely into us having a good conversation here this evening.
We always do.
So I'd like to get your take right now regarding what the president's doing with safety in Washington, and do you think it translates into any of Connecticut's larger cities or Connecticut in general?
I like what he's doing, only largely because you can get into the whole thing of federal rights, state rights, should he not, but when you hear people say, I haven't felt safe in this city for Lord knows how many years, and now they do, is it the best solution? No, but yet he's keeping the Capitol clean, which the Capitol was a horrible place. And there's still a long way to go. But like yesterday at the press conference, there was a young Asian lady who had thanked him for what he did, because
she's in the media.
Yeah, and she's in the media. She said, my family is scared for me being here ever since she was slapped and pistol whipped and robbed. And she said, now I feel fine, and I thank you. Is it a permanent solution? No. No, and that's the sad thing. And and my concern is, Marty, is when this goes. Yeah, it's a road show. There's how many cities could you take it to? You could take it to, Hartford. You could take it to New Haven. You could take it to South Norwalk. But it's like,
And Bridgeport and Waterbury, London.
right? Thank you. But it's like, what do you do when it's over and you're going to go back to the same nonsense and uselessness and high-paid stupidity and high-paid incompetence, and people will have their pensions and they'll get their days off, and they'll they're all going to take this money all to another place and not Connecticut. It has no sustaining value, but oh boy, I mean, you really need it. You really, I mean,
it's proving in short order to be effective down in Washington. I mean, I'm flabbergasted at how quickly that they showed results. And now, sustainable results, as you point out, that's a different story. But
right. It shows you how easy it is to fix if you have the will. And there hasn't been the will. Like last night, I confess to this, I was watching CNN. This is a 7 o'clock hour. Erin Burnett. I like her. She's cute, even though I think she's got something wrong with her head. But she had on Karen Bass, mayor of Los Angeles. And of course it was, and she can get very snippy about, well, what do you think about Trump is doing? And Karen Bass is like, well, it's an entirely wrong thing. What I want him to do is give me the money so I can do it. And yet I look at her and say, lady, how much money do you need? I mean, it's like, it's not a hard thing to enforce the law. Enforce it. And if you did it right, you wouldn't have to have federal troops in the streets. No, that's not the best look for America. That's something that, me at my point in my life, I didn't think I'd ever see. But it's like, I hate to think if we didn't have the president with the will to do that, where we would be.
And we haven't.
And we haven't. We haven't. And so that's kind of a very long and rambling answer to your very short and succinct and on-point question.
Well, I just, because it's funny, I mean, we, here in Connecticut, we look at a Hartford, a New Haven, and Bridgeport as being big cities, and compared to our next door neighbor, New York City, which is bigger than the state in population by what, 2 or 2.5? I mean, these what we call cities are like neighborhoods in New York.
Yeah, or boroughs. Or maybe not even.
I mean, what are they, 150,000, 100,000, somewhere in that range?
That's about right. And I don't know, I mean, it's such a scattershot approach. Okay, get Washington, D.C. under control. Where do you go next? Detroit? Do you go to Chicago? Let's assume he goes to Chicago. He does the same thing there. And it's going to be this back and forth. Chicago will be cleaner, then go to Los Angeles. I mean, is it, can we look to see some support Connecticut maybe in the last year of his presidency? That's the thing as far as the approach and the out. And again, I'm not blaming him. He's not getting any cooperation, but he's getting worse than no cooperation. He's getting flat out resistance. It's like, please allow us to screw our state and our city up even more, which I don't,
Well, the thing that I find, on one hand, is appalling, and on the other hand, how misguided the leadership in these cities are, that they haven't addressed this issue for decades. This is not a new problem.
No.
This has been an ongoing problem.
It doesn't get that way overnight, and it doesn't get fixed overnight. I was watching, we were saying this at dinner, a video of Hollywood Boulevard, Avenue of the stars on the sidewalk. And Marty, it is drug-addicted person after drug-addicted person after garbage dump after a homeless person. Now, you would think, anybody looking at that saying, we want tourist money here. We want this to be the national treasure that it is. The entertainment industry, the movie industry. And I mean, it is sickening where I would think, gee, what a nice thing it would be, and a couple of times I was fortunate enough to do it, to go and actually, you know, drive up and down Hollywood Boulevard and look at all the sites. Now it's like you have people actually walking, like, you know, with the intention of causing harm to other people, especially those that want to be tourists. It's like, you know, let's go hit them, slap them, try to take their purses, and to say, you know, well, this is, you know, we don't want any interference. Show me something that you can do to make me think otherwise. It's so sad.
Yeah, well, the denial factor of the leadership in these cities is just,
man, oh man.
I have a hard time wrapping my head around it. I mean, it's like, don't you see what I see? I mean, and you're supposed to be the one on top of things and trying to solve these problems, and not doing a very good job.
I can't, I don't know, we'll put it this way. I mean, it's, we might as well get right into it. We're talking about Zoran Mondami.
Yes.
And New York and what's going to happen there. And I've got, and actually, this is a gentleman whom I've done a little work for. He's the worst possible person right now to be in New York. He is a Jewish man, an Orthodox Jewish man, he and his brother, who own commercial property in what will be the land of Mondami. This was not the hell he imagined. And it's, I don't know what saves New York, but this flat-out socialism is no solution whatsoever.
It's going to exacerbate problems.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And what will that mean to Connecticut? What will that mean to Fairfield County? What will that mean to the people wanting to go into the theater, wanting to go into work? I mean, they're not going to go if they don't feel unsafe. And, you know, Connecticut has never really been able, has never really designed in a way to, quote unquote, sustain itself on, you always needed that New York push. You needed the capital. You needed people with corporate jobs to buy the nice homes and things like that.
That's why they call Fairfield County the Gold Coast.
Well, exactly. And it was largely done on New York money. Now you take that away. And what does that mean? You know, does that mean that, like, you know, if you're a small business in Eastern Connecticut who's dependent upon somebody there, that hurts you? Politicians have no clue of economics, none whatsoever. I don't care what party. I really don't care what party. What would make something sustain of itself? It's all about, boy, I'm starting to preach tonight. It's all about, quote unquote, you getting your hands on government money, throwing it out, getting reelected, and then when the money's, let's go out and find more money. Somebody's going to call up yelling and screaming. I can tell you that much.
Well, but that's the formula.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a fault.
Exactly.
Unsustainable.
Well, and again, I don't want to be all over the place tonight, but it's all somehow interrelated. I've spent the last 3 or 4 weeks, you know, on the Lee Elsey show, on the Connecticut nonprofit scandal, and the fact of, you know, money, taxpayer money goes out. State Senate has no idea what they're doing. They're just forking it off to these nonprofits, and the nonprofits are doing something with the money. It seems that they're being very highly compensated for what they do with the money. And then now you've got like close to $1 million missing. And that's subject of an FBI investigation. But it's like, let's just say all this worked just fine. What do you do, people, when you burn through this money? Are you actually learning and doing and building and making and creating so you can sustain yourself? It's not designed to do that at all.
Well, I mean, look what happened in the public sector as well as the social service sector through the nonprofits with COVID money, where both parties were adding personnel and programs with money that was not going to be there. I mean,
and this is the thing, and people scream and yell at me.
And New London's dealing with it now. I mean, the mayor who's in hot water for flat funding education, But you know, the education department was spending money like drunken sailors on programs and adding personnel. That is going to come to an end.
Well, that's the Connecticut way. You solve a mess and you solve a problem by having another program to solve the problem, which creates a bigger problem. This is Yankee ingenuity. But that said, if I'm in a nonprofit and I believe in the cause I'm doing, and all domestic violence, drug addiction, feeding the hungry, and I can't get what I need because there's a bunch of incompetents and greedy people sucking off the trail, and my people and my mission is going with that. I mean, honestly, truthfully, it's not about quote unquote, let's kill all the nonprofits. It's let's make the nonprofits better by making them more accountable for what they do and making things open. But
yeah. Well, and there's a fair amount of overlap, and also you don't see the nonprofits and or government programs once established. They don't go away.
No, they don't.
I mean,
Jimmy Carter taught us that with
they
CETA.
should have a mission, and when that mission is complete, you don't give them a new mission. You shut it down. You've done your job. Thank you. Give them a pat on the back, give them a star on their hat, and look for something else.
And it's not that public spending is a bad idea, but you need good public spending. You know, there's the public spending that builds the Holland Tunnel and the George Washington Bridge. That's another story. But yet it built something sustaining that would produce revenue versus the public spending. It just goes on year after year after year. And to say, well, we need more spending to make things better. And the more you spend, Marty, the problem gets bigger and bigger. And there's zero accountability. And of course, you know, you're looking people at Lawrence D'Angelo's favorite broken record, youngest son. There's no freedom of information provision for nonprofits in Connecticut. They can do whatever the hell they want. They don't have to show you anything. They don't have to account for anything. And the legislature can just shovel money, and this can just go on and on and on. I don't know. I was reading the Bob Swick article last week, Swick Speak. Really, that is a good article. Every week you should read it if you don't already. How does this just keep going on and on and on without crashing and doing something? It's managed to stay up all these years, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm old enough to remember when the community development block grant.
Oh yes, yes.
Was in its heyday, and this goes back into
then.
The 70s.
Exactly.
And
that was
millions
CETA,
and
Carter.
millions of dollars were coming into New London and many other urban.
Stanford. Yep.
All over the country, and that was not a program designed to be spread out that way. It was supposed to be in a handful of large cities to solve specific problems, but everybody wanted to get their hand in there. And over the course of time, as the money dried up, I mean, right now in New London, it means less than $1 million is divvied up, and the amount of nonprofits that are coming in looking for, in essence, crumbs. But they feel compelled to come in because if they don't,
they'll be forgotten.
They won't. And I think it probably costs them as much, if not more, to prepare the grant than what they're going to get out of it in today's day and age of what's being doled out.
And that's really that's the amazing thing. I mean, excuse me, you can't. In order for, I don't understand why it's never built to be a sustaining model, but a consuming model.
And on top of that, you'll have situations where, the theory is that, we want the money to get to the locals because they know what's best for their community.
Oh, we've heard that.
Then you have your local councils and boards of selectmen, et cetera, and they'll take a few $100s here or $1,000 there, and they'll give it to somebody who maybe hasn't had it before. But they want to just try to secure some votes with a rather paltry sum. But I took care of you.
Right.
It has nothing to do
They're not going to take
necessarily-
care of you. I'll take care of you.
It's not necessarily based upon need or effectiveness. It's based upon, where can I get more votes?
And it's become such a popularity contest. I know, like, one of the nonprofits we've been looking at, in the nonprofit scandal, which is involved, is this group called Girls for Technology. They're supposed to be getting $1 million a year for 5 years. And the most incredible thing with this is, and we talked about this on Lee's show, they got $1 million in 1 year, and the expenses are $800,000 for $1 million.
Let's see what we have on the line here. Good evening, you're on the air.
Yes, hello there.
How are you?
Hi.
Hi, Tony D'Angelo. I got a question for you.
I'll do my best.
Okay. All right. This just happened, I guess, this past week, or a week ago. The shutdown of State Pier because they're shutting down or closing out the contract for the windmills offshore. Well, maybe you can tell us something about it?
I don't know any more than you do. I think my question to Marty was, are these mills producing? And apparently right now they're not. And I mean, me, myself, and I'm not opposed to wind power as such. I think it was foolish for the state to think that this would be, quote unquote, the main engine, and because there's so many things that can go wrong with it. And I think it's a horrible position for the state to be in. What is it? $300 million in the hole, haven't produced any power, and what are we going to be left with? It's like a bunch of rotting hulks, I guess.
Listen, Eversource, who was a partner, has
Yeah.
gotten out. And that's what they do with electricity.
Right.
And then you've got this Danish company, Ørsted, and they've got that pier locked up for 20 years.
So I have no new insight, but these are the things that concern me. I don't think that's the solution for energy, if my humble opinion. I didn't understand it from the beginning.
What else you got, Larry?
We didn't understand it either, but it was $310 million just for the work they're doing on State Pier. That isn't the total. That heavy lift ship we just saw it come in the other day. I remember when they were building it, they said it was $500 million just to build that ship, to handle the windmills when they took them out there to plant them. And Marty mentioned about Eversource. Well, they wanted to get out, and I guess they did. Now, our electric bill, like ours, went up, I think, $85 a month just for, they said it's for people that can't pay. Well,
Right.
Eversource feels like they want to get their money back from what they lost on the windmills. So I won't keep you any longer.
Oh, no, it's good. Thank you for calling.
It's nice to hear from you again.
And thank you for calling. Appreciate it.
And Larry, I need to stop down and see you. I know you've been trying to reach me, and I've been delinquent getting back. I have tried a couple of times recently, and I'm getting your answering machine. I'm not sure if you're getting my messages, but we will connect.
Yeah, okay. Hold on then, Marty. You still there?
I am.
Okay. Yeah. No, I can't see enough, so I can't even read messages if I get them. But I just wanted to tell you, because I don't remember if I told you before, but I have had a miracle eye surgery. I have a operation that's called an artificial cornea, and I am beginning to see again. And I can hardly wait until I can see enough so I can start going back to city council to make my blood flow again. Okay, I won't keep you any longer.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you for calling.
That's the best news I've heard all day.
That is great.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep, night-night.
Bye now.
Yep.
Bye now.
Bye.
You know,
He's been a gentleman who's been a watchdog on the city for.
he always calls when I'm here, and he's always very unduly nice to me. But the
I think he listens to you on Tuesdays.
yeah, he's
too.
mentioned that, isn't that? Yeah, it's really you never really know who's listening.
Well, that's something I've learned just being around, or different jobs I've been at, or different places. You know, hey, I've seen you on TV.
Yeah.
I hear you on Lee's program. Just the fact that voice sounds familiar.
Yeah. It's funny. Years and years and years and years ago, we were playing a summer league baseball game, and the team we were playing was from New York, and Rick Wolf was son of Bob Wolf, the legendary announcer.
Yep.
You know, eight decades of all the Washington Senators, New York Knicks, and I mean, I'd watched him since, you know, and he just took a drive out one day to see his son play baseball. Son was in the minor leagues. Son's a very nice man. He passed on a few years back. He was a child psychologist. They were all, you know, the Wolves were all very intelligent people. And so at the end of the game, actually game we won, I walked up to him and said, Mr. Wolf, I'm so nervously, I'm so grateful to meet you. I just wanted to, you know, say hello, and I thought he was going to yell at me or something. And he threw his arms around me. He said, oh, thank you very much. Thank you for complimenting me. And I was in shock. And then when Bob Lazari and I interviewed him on the sports show, it's about 8 or 9 years ago, he was still active. He was in his 90s, and I mentioned that to him. He said, you know, Tony, you never know who's watching. The world watched you. But anyway.
That's true.
Sorry,
That's,
it's not on the that's not on the syllabus. I apologize.
Well, but you know, we tend to freeform it anyway. I do jot down a few notes to just as a
You're elevating my spirits. Thank you.
as a
Not an easy thing to do.
potential guide, especially if we have an unanticipated lull, which you and I never seem to have.
No, we
So
always seem to run out of time.
that we do. But I'd like to kind of just get a little tangent here and put your business and economic background to work. I know we discussed this the last time you were here, and that is tariffs. And how do you think things are shaping up with Trump and his tariffs so far? There's a lot of doubt coming out of the gate.
Small d decently, because the Trump is a free markets guy, more so than maybe not a laissez-faire free markets guy, but he's a free markets guy, and he does want to show respect for the American craft. And if the American craft cannot make a market somewhere, he does not want the somewhere to come here and pick it up cheap and, you know, devalue everything here. So the way I see it is it this great solution like Scott Bessent, the Secretary of the Treasury, says that, you know, the revenues will pick up to the point of the deficit? I think that's true to a certain extent. I don't think it's going to accelerate to that degree, you know, to the degree that Mr. Bessent is saying. But what I think it's doing is it's forcing the free market to be free. For example, go to buy a vehicle, and I have a choice of a Ford, say, for $50,000, or an Audi for $80,000. It's like, I don't, you know, comparable vehicles. I'll go and buy the Ford. I think I'll save the money. Now, the Audi manufacturer is sitting there saying, well, what can we do? We've got to make ourselves more efficient, or we've got to drop our price, and we've got to somehow streamline this thing so we can compete better. And if that all works the way it's supposed to, it's doing what it needs to do.
Well, or Audi will build a plant here in the U.S.
The other thing.
and use American workers.
And much more. Yeah, or
It's
bring
creating jobs,
Yeah.
and they're not paying the tariff because the product's being produced here.
or bring the capacities here. I mean, you can't go. I like the way he's doing it, where he says this will happen on this day. And then there's an extension. You know, you have the goofballs and the wackazoids like Chris Murphy saying, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's here, he's there, he's undecided. Trump is all this stupid nonsense. I mean, basically, you can take forever to work out a deal as things become more smooth. And maybe not forever, but you can take your time to do it. And it's just, I think there you just get a lot of dumb criticism as to, you know, well, he doesn't know what he's doing. No, I think he may not know everything, but I think the people around him.
I believe that Trump is, whatever he's doing, he's constantly, and he's not broadcasting this, but he's constantly negotiating. He's constantly, and it may not be on the topic at hand. He may be talking tariffs, and it may be a negotiating tool for peace in the Middle East.
Yeah. I see. Whether you love the man or whether you hate him, he is up on just about every single subject that people bring to him. He may not be a technician and an expert, but the guy knows his onions. The guy is bright. He knows what's happening in the markets. He knows what's happening in technology. He knows what's happening with artificial intelligence. I mean, he has a working appreciation. What if we had Joe Biden or Kamala? I don't care about the party. But I mean, it's like, I don't think Kamala Harris could use Grok to draw a picture, personally. That frightens me, and how close we came to that.
Well, there are those who are still going pell-mell towards socialism, and it's under the banner of the Democratic Party.
And
or worse.
Yeah, and I mean, the Democrats were the party of labor, the party of the working man, the party of equality, the party of I have no words. How do you, if it's this concept that the rich guy, or if you're Mondami, the rich white guy, has got so much money it's not going to bother him, so he'll just keep doing this. He's not going to move, he's not going to leave, he's not going to become offended. Connecticut hangs, never forget this, on 6 billionaires. 6. And do you think for a moment, Marty Olsen, that when these people, if they don't get ticked off and leave already, that their kids are going to stay here? I mean, that's serious stuff. And if those people leave, it's like, what do you do? Where does the money come from? You know, and you're going to keep spending at these incredible levels?
Well, I mean, and that's, you brought up Murphy, who I think's moronic down there in Washington.
Yeah.
He's awful.
He's a moronic embarrassment.
And he seems to be thinking he can position himself for higher office, which is, speaking of frightening. But here we have, nationally an issue of the time is redistricting Texas. Abbott looking to secure, I guess, another half a dozen seats or thereabouts.
6, I believe, yes.
And then you've got California and Illinois, New York. They're battling as best they can to try to counteract that. Is that here in Connecticut, we've got 5 state reps that are 5 congressmen,
right.
Representatives.
National representatives.
National reps, and 2 senators, and they're all Democrats. I don't hear anybody complaining about it.
Other than the people like me or you, no.
But you don't hear anybody in government saying, we'll voluntarily give up a seat or 2 so that you guys can we'll have some fairness. They don't believe in fairness.
It's not about fairness.
It's about winning.
It's about, I know better than you, and if you disagree with me, you're either racist, homophobic, transphobic, hateful, you're any of those things. It doesn't matter if the solution is good. It doesn't matter if it does not allow for another viewpoint. I'm always checking my viewpoint. I just want to make sure that what I'm saying, what I'm believing is at least the best answer I can come up with. But they have no desire to do that.
Yeah. And north of our border, directly in Massachusetts, the same deal.
It's worse. It's getting worse by the day. Boston is a sick and sad embarrassment. Boston is turning into the Chicago of the East. And it's this whole thing of, Michelle Wu, the mayor of Boston, saying, you can't tell me what to do. It's just, how dare you do that? You're an imperialist, you're a racist, meanwhile your city's, falling apart. It's dangerous. There was a video I was watching on, and for all I know, this can go on, any single weekend or any single day. There's the Mass Pike, which goes into the city, and there's the tunnels, which will take you,
Goes out to the airport.
Goes out to the airport, and I don't know how many pocket bikes there were. Just like must have been at least 50 that were going in and out and in and out and in and out in the traffic, which is tough enough to drive in a tunnel, let alone you're in this flock of. And her idea was, well, we will caution these young people not to do it, and they won't do it again, and they're going to grow out of it. Like, and that just, if I owned property in that city, I don't know what I'd do, Marty. I really don't. It's just, we can get away with whatever we want. And of course, she lives in a place where she's got 24-hour police protection.
It's amazing how these hotshot legislators and governors and senators, et cetera, that live in gated communities and tell the rank and file who can't afford this stuff that you'll be okay. Michelle Wu and these others, they have armed guards.
Yeah.
You can't have a gun, but we'll have guns around us to keep you away from us because we really don't want to deal with you.
Yeah, and you pray in these cities, you pray in Boston that there's enough sane people there. I'm not talking Trump lovers, I'm just talking sane people that believe in work and owning property and living safely and sending their kids to school that will vote Michelle Wu out or not elect Zoran Mondami. This is the thread you're hanging by.
We discussed this over dinner. I broached it to pulse you on. Is a Mondami term? Would it be a good experiment to prove how ineffective socialism, or did de Blasio already do that? That I didn't bring up, because he was not exactly a tight squirrel either. And this young man is a lot more charismatic than de Blasio ever was.
This young man has the charisma of a Castro. He's that acute and that, whatever the word is, I hate to use this term, or use it in its most negative sense. He has an electric quality about him. And he attracts those people who think that he represents hope and salvation. And I think to your point, is this going to be a good thing? I think in theory it might. My concern is, can New York City sustain it? And will the city suffer such irreparable damage that, we've got to do something different, but we don't know where to begin. We've just been.
We had irreparable damage during the Biden administration, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Trump in pell-mell has moved a aircraft carrier around on. It's amazing how quickly he has moved and changed things. It's staggering, to be honest with you.
It is.
Now, will he be able to sustain this for 4 years, and after 4 years, then what transpires?
Who will carry the ball? Yeah.
And that obviously we don't know.
I think so much rides on the keeping of the House and keeping
at the midterm.
At the midterm, so much is critical with that, and I think that it's fun to laugh at the stupid liberal tricks you see with people singing the dumb songs and locking themselves in cages, but they're plotting every single minute to do whatever they can. I think Hakeem Jeffries is insidious. He will smile in your face and he will stab you in the back. He wants nothing more than that majority. And then, Marty, for 2 years in Congress, that's going to be lights out. Nothing's going to move. It's going to be just it's going to be a horrific tug of war. And if you have that happening at the same time as a Brandon Johnson and a Mandami, or even here with a Dick Blumenthal and a Ned Lamont, it's, you could celebrate, but you got to start getting focused on what this world can and would be like, and if that were the case.
I mean, but I think it's a legitimate question. Is the Republican Party, is it a collective group of individuals who have been elected to serve, or is it singular? Is it Trump? I mean, he's obviously driving the bus.
Yeah, and I don't think everybody likes the fact that he's the bus driver. My humble opinion, I think that Lisa Murkowski doesn't care for him. Susan Collins doesn't care for him. John Thune, I think, is learning to respect him better. Mike Johnson, I like. I'm probably in the minority because I think he's got a delicate balancing act, and I think he does that quite well.
I think Johnson's done a very nice job.
Yeah.
I mean, and I, as you put it, like him. Thune may be biting his lower lip, but he's been
doing what
job.
he needs to. Yeah, and I think that but I say to myself, these were the same people that 2 years ago, they wanted nothing to do with Trump. They're like, well, Nikki Haley was going on presidential debates saying the next president's going to be me or Kamala Harris because Donald Trump is going to go to jail. Ain't that nice? And it's just they themselves don't even know, and this state's a perfect example. They don't even know the people that they're representing, and that's that I think comes from the top on down. And people who would embrace them if they felt represented by Republicans.
Well, it's going to be interesting. I wonder, and I think I'm not the only one who wonders this, is that I don't remember the amendment number, which limits the president to 2 terms.
Me neither.
Whether or not it's 2 any terms or is it 2 consecutive terms? And if it's,
I've never read the language.
and I'm not sure. But if it's 2 consecutive terms, that would allow him to run for a 3rd.
And people get very offended, but sometimes I shake my head, given this pitiful state, and say, because my thing in just dealing in life on a daily basis is, when will we ever get rid of get over the damage that the Biden administration did? Which oftentimes the flip side of that record that I play in my head is, Trump 3 times is what we're going to need. Now that would put him at 84, 85 or something like that. I think he could do it, but it's
His stamina is absolutely staggering.
he warms to the activity, and he's always been that way.
But I mean, that guy, I don't know when he sleeps. I mean, he's like the Energizer Bunny on steroids.
The more he does, the more he wants to do. And I mean, that to me is leadership. And I can't remember the last time we had leadership as in the presidency. I mean, people showed flashes of it, but just a man leading the country and paying attention. You tell me when. JFK? I don't know.
Well, I'm a fan. I'm a Reagan fan.
Reagan, yeah, Reagan. You can make that argument.
I mean, he had a panache that.
Yeah.
And when he was president, and I was in my 30s.
Around the same age, yeah.
And I mean, he was a guy who, when he was going to speak, I made a point of, I wanted to hear what he had to say.
You wanted to see it, yes.
I can't say that for every president since then. And I wasn't paying that close of attention before that.
But, Trump comes after a guy who basically needed to be in assisted living. And what a pox and a shame on the American people that they tried to pass him off as competent. Which takes me back to that debate.
He wasn't competent when he got elected. in my
Yeah.
opinion. I think that guy was shot before that first.
But ask yourself something. Why did they let him debate Donald Trump? Because it was, unless you wanted to, quote unquote, get rid of him, that was the objective. So you could somehow advance Kamala Harris.
I don't necessarily think she was the top prize, but
Right.
internally they couldn't. They boxed themselves in.
Yeah. But by saying, yeah, that's right. He said, "Oh yeah, I'll do it," and it was. I mean, it was the classic line in that debate is, "I don't know what he says about Social Security. I don't even think he knows what he said." That to me is a greater line than Lloyd Bentsen saying to Dan Quayle, "Senator, you're no Jack Kennedy."
Yeah, I knew Jack Kennedy, and you're no Jack
Yeah.
Kennedy. Although I did like Reagan's line with Mondale, where he was not going to exploit his youth and inexperience for political gain.
I often said to myself what Dan Quayle should have said to Lloyd Bentsen. "No, I've been married to the same woman, been faithful to her for 45 years. I'm not Jack Kennedy." Yeah, that's a great comeback after the fact.
Well, one thing that and I enjoy the political arena, the game, whatever you like to call it. But I don't see, and haven't for a good number of years now, basically since Trump came into the scene back in 15, 16, is that the Democrats have become void of ideas. Trump bad, Trump bad. They have no ideas, no counter arguments, no new arguments, no nothing other than that he's bad. So therefore, by definition, you vote for us.
Their entire platform, to call it that, it's based entirely upon weakness. We protect the transgender. They're going to steal your Medicare. They're going to steal your Social Security. They don't care about you. He's going to do whatever he wants, and we are the last line of defense. I see nothing in those messages of, this is what you need to do to be empowered, to be better, to be self-sustaining, to be prosperous, to create. There's nothing about opportunity. There's nothing about direction. There's nothing about improvement.
Yeah.
And
I mean, when I've been asked over time, all politicians are the same. What's the difference between Democrats and Republicans? And I have said for a long, long time, I mean, the Republicans believe in equal opportunity, and the Democrats advocate for equal outcomes.
Yeah.
And that's what DEI is equal outcomes. It's a different way of saying it. And I thought we had put that to bed, that merit was going to be what it's all about. And the Democrats are going down a rabbit hole here.
Well, and it got entirely ridiculous with the thing of English speaking. You and I are you doing a much better job than I am speaking the King's English. That was supposedly racist, and math was racist, and history was not what they told us, but it was something else entirely. And it was we live on stolen land, and we are the white person is the de facto, by definition, oppressor of the black person. Just because you jumped out of your mother's womb and this was your pigmentation, it's like, and this thing of got such a belief that this is really true, and to your point, I thought we were by it, but I don't think they're entirely by it. This is all they have left.
Well, when all else fails, pull out the race card.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Pull out Al Sharpton. That guy's one of the biggest jerks.
Con artist.
I've got more colorful language for him, but
Yeah.
After the Tawana Brawley fiasco years ago, which he was in the middle of,
He ruined people's careers and their reputations.
and their lives, and he should have been shamed and never allowed on public airwaves again. And he's given a platform, and I don't get it.
Well, why does that always happen with, and this is the thing, what's the difference between a Republican and a Democrat? If a Republican does something like George Santos did,
Yep.
he is drawn, quartered, imprisoned,
That's going to jail.
and going to jail. But yet Al Sharpton can do what Al Sharpton did. Senator Richard Blumenthal can lie about his service in Vietnam, and nothing happened to him. He can be at a communist gathering in New Haven and addressing communists, saying, I am not a communist, I am a Democrat, but I will work with you as a Democrat, and nothing happens to him. He's still there. The man is communicating with communists. He is in fellowship with them. Ned Lamont, his great management of COVID-19, lied about the COVID baby. The baby died of COVID, and it turned out to be this total and complete lie and farce. And Marty, he should have been out of office the next week. The entire legislature should have said, you cannot do this. You cannot lie to the people of Connecticut. They didn't do a blessed thing. Republicans didn't do a blessed thing.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes the Republicans are as bad as the Democrats.
But all these people, to your point, Sharpton, Blumenthal, Lamont, they're all there. They're all functioning. They haven't really missed a beat. And it's terrible. And the things they did were awful or egregious.
Well, it's a tangled web, as they say.
For sure.
Anything in our remaining couple of moments here? I just wanted to get your thoughts on what Trump is attempting to do in Ukraine and getting Putin and Zelensky at the same table and actually coming out with some semblance of peace.
He's showing initiative.
Or is he shooting in the dark here?
No, he's showing initiative. He's showing boldness. He's showing leadership. He's also showing that he's restating the policy of the United States is we're not going to get involved in your conflict, but basically both of you guys are in up a creek with no oars. Could you give up those things which you think are so meaningful to you, and can we peacefully coexist? I think he's in exactly the right place. You want to see it happen more quickly.
That can be challenging.
And that can be challenging. And to think you'd ever see anything close to that with Harris or Biden or
well,
even
those two had a record. It was just pump more money in it.
You're right.
And we'll play surrogate from home, pump money in it, and it just goes on.
And we'll tell our supporters to fly the flags on their lawn. Yeah, exactly right. You want to see it happen more quickly. You want to see Israel and Gaza happen more quickly. There's really no reason why it shouldn't, but for the parties involved. But I applaud him. He's got to keep doing it.
Well, he's been, like I say, the Energizer Bunny. He's been. You don't have to like the guy, but the results have been really phenomenal. Well, Tony, we have run out of time.
They're going to throw us out.
Well, they won't throw us out. We can stay here and talk, but they're going to turn the cameras and the lights off. But I wanted to thank you for carving
Thanks,
out
everybody, for watching
carving out an hour and watching City
it's always
Focus.
a pleasure.
And I want to thank Tony for coming down from Pomfret. It's always a joy to have him. And
it's always a joy to be here.
And we'll have you back hopefully soon. And folks, you've been watching City Focus, and we'll see you again next week. Good night.
Good night, folks.